Hello everyone, welcome to video lectures on data mining and data warehouse. Module 2 continue data warehouse implementation and data mining. So now we are going to discuss dimensionality reduction. In the previous videos, we have started about data pre-processing. We had discussed about aggregations and sampling technique and various technique of the sampling. So we are going to the next very important part in the data pre-processing, the dimensionality reduction. So first of all, we know that a data set can have a large number of features. Consider a set of documents where each document is represented by a vector whose component are the frequencies with which each word occurs in the document. So in such cases, there are typically 1,000 or 10,000 top attribute, or we can call it as components on for each word in the vocabulary. So there is a example we are giving. Another example, consider a set of time series consisting of the daily closing price of various stocks over a period of 30 years. Such in this case, the attribute which are the prices in specific days, again number in particularly thousands. There are variety of benefit to dimensionality reduction. So a key benefit is that many data mining algorithms work better if the dimensionality, the number of attribute in the data set is lower. So this is partly because dimensionality reduction can eliminate irrelevant features and reduce noise, and partly because of the core curse of dimensionality. So we're going to tell what is the curse of dimensionality later. Now the purpose of dimensionality reduction is avoid curse of dimensionality, reduce the amount of time and required by data mining algorithm, obviously, allow the data to be more easily and visualized, may help to eliminate irrelevant features or reduce the noise. There are some standard techniques are applied here. Principal component analysis, singular value decomposition technique, and there are many other techniques, supervised and non-linear technique of the dimensionality reduction technique. So first we should discuss simply about what is curse of dimensionality. When always we know that dimensionality increases, data becomes increasingly sparse in the space that it occupies. So definitions of density and the distance between the point, which is critical for clustering and outlier injection, becomes less meaningful. So a randomly generator assume that 500 point number of dimensions, and we should take log of max or distance, minimum distance divided by so and so. So compute difference between max and minimum distance between any pair of particular points. The curves of dimensionality means which refers to the phenomenon that many type of data analysis which becomes significantly harder. So as the dimensionality of the data increases, specifically with the dimensionality increases, the data becomes increasingly sparse in the space that it occupies. For classification, this can mean that there are not enough data objects to allow the creation of model that reliably assigns a class to all the possible objects. For clustering, the definition of density and distance between the points, so which are critical clustering, becomes always less meaningful. That is about curves of dimensionality. There are techniques here, linear algebra techniques of dimensionality reduction. These are the things. So how we are going to take PCA and a principal component analysis, and linear, that is a linear algebra technique for continuous combinations of the original attribute. So this is a we have taken as an example of dimensionality reduction of PCA, principal component analysis. So in this case, the goal is to find a projection that captures the largest amount of variations in the data. So we need to draw a straight line from the zero. So we should consider all the dot point will be in the middle. So this is the linear technique, linear algebra to project the data from high dimensional space into low dimensional space. So next one more technique is feature subset selection. So as we the next data preprocessing. So this is also another way to reduce the dimensionality of the data. If there is a more technique in dimensionality reduction, we know that PCR. So this feature subset also one of the another way. So redundant features duplicate much or all of the other information which contained in one or more other attribute. So example, purchase price of a product and the amount of sales tax paid might be the redundant feature maybe exist. We are going to remove that. So irrelevant feature contains um, here no information that is useful for the data mining task at hand. Example, the student ID is the often irrelevant to the task of predicting the always performing in that student grade point average. So every time it's not required enough for the student university number is enough to in the finding out of the respective grade point so average for the particular student. So there are technique of the feature subset technique here. There are some technique here given. One of the major technique is the brute force technique also be there. So how you are going to be try all the brute force approach will tell that try all the possible features subset as input to data mining algorithm. So that is the one of the standard technique and the embedded approaches. So here the features selection, so which occurs naturally always as the part of data mining algorithm. Specifically, we say that specifically during the operations of the data mining algorithm. The algorithm itself decide which the attribute to use and which to ignore. So algorithm for building decision tree or in case of classifier which are discussed we are going to take in the fourth module. So next approach here, filter approaches. So there are many technical features are selected. So before the data mining algorithm is run, using some approach that is dependent of the data mining task. So for example, so we might select setup attribute whose pairwise correlation is low as possible. So that is about filter approaches. So wrapper approaches. The uh, use of the data mining algorithm as the black box. So say that to find the best subset of the attribute set. So in a way here which are similar to that of ideal algorithm. So we can tell about wrapper approaches. But typically, so without enumerating all the possible subsets. So here, since the embedded approach are always algorithm specific, only the filter and wrapper approach will need to be discussed later. So this is the simple flowchart of feature subset selection. It is a very simple technique. So where how it can be done. So an architecture, we say that uh, filter methods and wrapper methods differ only the way which evaluate subset features. For the wrapper method, the subset evaluation uses the target data mining algorithm. So while the filter approach, the evaluation technique is distinct from target data mining algorithm. So in the diagrammatically explained here, the feature subset selection is such overall possible subset of features. So that's why we have taken the search strategy. This is the main. What does it? It does it search all the possibilities. So the strategy search strategies can be used, but the search strategy should computationally inexpensive, should find the optimal or near optimal set of features. So which will find the subset of attribute and evaluation stopping criteria, selected attribute and validate it. So this attribute will be taking from the search strategy. So this is the usually not possible to satisfy the both requirement and the trade-off are necessary. So that we need to think about. So for the filter approach, some the measures attempt to the particularly how well the actual data mining algorithm will perform on a given set of attributes. For the wrapper approach, their evaluation consists of actually running the target data mining application, but the subset evaluation function is simply the criterion normally which are always used to measure the result of the data mining technique. So this is about another also their feature weighing. The feature weighting, or we can call it as a weighing or weighting, is an alternative keeping for eliminating feature, which are more important features which are assigned to a higher weight, while less important features are given to lower weight. In such a way, the weight are sometimes assigned based on the domain knowledge about relative importance of the features. So very immediate next task is the feature creation. So we need to talk about it is frequently possible to create from the original attribute a new set of attribute that captures the important information in a data set so much more effectively. The creation of here new attribute that can capture the important information in the data set much more efficiently than the original attribute. So if you consider that the set of photograph where each photograph is to be classified according to so whether or not contains a human face. The raw data is set of pixel and such as not suitable for many types of classification alone. However, if the data in cases such as not suitable for many type of classification, however, data is processed to provide higher level features such as presence or absence of the certain type of the edges, areas are highly correlated with the presence of human faces. This is like the example. Then there are three general methodologies of in feature creation: the feature extraction, domain specific, mapping to the new space, and feature construction. So mapping to the new page here, actually we talk about all the Fourier transform technique and all. So mapping to data to a new space, that is a Fourier transform. Two sine waves plus noise. The second figure is two sine waves plus noise, and third figure, so which is the frequency of the two figures. So that is how we are going to remove the noise. So by using the mapping actual original data to a new space. So that is the applications of Fourier transform to identify the underlying frequencies in a series of data. So we're going to the next one, discretization and binarization. So some data mining algorithms, especially certain classification algorithm, which requires that the data be in the form of categorical attributes. So algorithms that find association patterns which requires that the data to be in the form of binary attributes. So we need to use this discretization as well as binarization. So now coming to this point, it is often necessary to transform a continuous attribute into a categorical attribute, which we can call it as discretization. And both continuous and discrete attribute may need to be transformed into one or more binary attributes, so we can call it as binarization. Additionally, so in case if a categorical attribute has a large number of values, that is nothing but categories, or some values can occur frequently, so then it may be beneficial for certain data mining tasks, so to reduce the number of categories by combining the sum of the values, so that we need to take it as a both discretization as well as categorization. So here in the form of both, we should be taken into the binarization form. Coming to this point on example, so we will take this the a good example. So with feature selection, the best discretization and binarization approach is the one that which produces the best result for the data mining algorithms that will be used to analyze the data. So it is typically not practical to apply such a criterion directly. So consequently, discretization and binarization is performed in the way that satisfies a criterion that is thought to have a relationship good performance for the data mining task as being considered. So we know that this is a simple example, so where we used to have the conversion of categorical attribute into three binary attribute. So we will see this, the first categorical value of full, poor, okay, good, great. So integer value as given to this categorical value 0, 1, 2, 3 and similarly 4. And the respective binary values we have taken x1, x2, x3. So this is the thing. So of full here, the integer value is 0 and then the respective binary values x1, x2, x3 are completely zeros. And in case of poor, integer value is 1, the binary value start with x1, x2, x3. There are three attributes and the last attribute belongs to 1 because the integer value is 1. Next, okay is 2, then x1, x2, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. Similarly, good. So the good attribute have 3, so 0, 1, 1. Similarly, greet is that we have taken 4 is there 1, 0, 0. Obviously, awful, poor, good, great, and everything we have taken. Next, what we are going to do in the binarization, especially for the special cases, a simple technique to binarize the categorical attribute is the following. There are m categorical values, then uniquely assign each virginal value to an integer. So in the interval, so we are always going to take 0, m minus 1. If the attribute is ordinal, then the order must be maintained by the respective assignment. If the attribute is others, ordinal or nominal, that the respective order should be so maintained. So next year, actually the convert of the each m integer into the binary integer, since we need to take it as n is equal to log 2 to the base m. So binary digits are required to represent so these integer, then binary numbers using n binary attribute. So this is the way we are going to handle it. Similarly, uh, discretization of a case continuous attribute. How we are going to transformation of continuous attribute into a categorical values or attribute which involves two subtasks. First task is said that deciding how categories to have and determine how to map the values of the continuous attribute to the categories. In the first, after the values of the continuous attribute are stored, they are then divided into n intervals by specifying n minus 1 split point. We are using the split point. In the second, rather trivial, uh, therefore, the problem is always we need to take a step in the second. All the values in the one interval are mapped to the same categorical value. Therefore, the problem of discretization is one of deciding how many split points to choose and where to place them. The result can be represented either a set of intervals, or we can take it as x comma x naught comma x zero. Sorry, we can call it as x zero x1 x1 x2 dot dot dot. So x n minus 1 comma xn, where x naught and xn may be a positive in the case minus infinity to plus infinity respectively, or equivalently a series of inequalities x naught is less than x, or x is less than or equal to x1 dot 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 x n minus 1 less than equal to x and x n. So this is the case like discretization of continuous attribute. So there are the cases unsupervised discretization. There are a basic distinction between discretization methods for classification. So is the whether the class information is used or supervised, or we have to take unsupervised cases. So that we have to take it depends upon the what how the frequency has been taken. So there are a lot of examples regarding this supervised discretization, where we are going for the necessary to define the entropy cases. So where entropy stands, which take the discretization categorical values. So this is the different discretization technique have been formed here. Data, assume that data in the point of 510 of the data set, original data set. So equal width interval, when we divide in the equal width, the data will be appearing like this, and equal frequency applied appearing like this, and apply the k-means algorithm here, so it will look like this. So the next is the attribute transformation. So attribute transformation, a function that maps the entire set of values a given attribute to a new set of replacement values such that each old value can be identified with one of the new values. So this attribute transformation is the most probably important part in the, we can call it as variable transformation. So here, which refers to the transformation that is applied to all the values of attribute. In other words, for each object, the transformation is applied to the values of the variable of that object. For example, if only the magnitude of a variable is important, then the value of the variable can be transformed by taking the absolute value. So one is the example here, simple functions. We have taken for this type of variables transformation, a simple mathematical function is applied to each value individually. If x is a variable, then example of such Transformations include x to the power k, log x, e to the power x, square root x, and 1 by x, sin x, or modulus x. So actually in the statistics, the variable transformation, especially square root, log, and 1 by x are often used to transform the data that does not have a Gaussian. In the case normal, Gaussian is the case of normal distribution into data that does. While this can be important to other reasons for take precedency in the data mining, suppose that variable of interest is the number of data byte in the session. So variable transformation should be applied to the two technique here, standardization and normalization. So variable, while we know that desired have a desire to solve the particular problem in nature. For instance, which transformation 1 by x, if you use that one, which reduce the magnitude value of the that are 1 or larger, but increase the magnitude value of 0 between 0 and 1. So normalization and standardization. So here, so another common type of variable transformation is the standardization, or we can call it as a normalization. Both are the same and or. So in the data mining community, in terms that are often interchangeably depending upon the statistics. Statistics, however, the term normalization can be confused with the transformations used for making the variable that is always in the normal. In that is Gaussian. The goal of standardization or normalization is to make the entire set of values have a particular property. A traditional example is that standardizing variable in statistics, if x bar, that is called as mean or average of the attribute values, and sx is the standard deviation. So that we can take it as the x, that transformation is x dash equal to x minus x bar divided by sx. Sx is the standard deviation. So like that, we are going to uh, transform the one form into the another form. Another thing, actually, the mean and standard deviation are strongly affected by outlier, so that the above transformation is often always modified. The first mean is replaced by the absolute standard deviation. Basically, if x is a variable, then the absolute standard deviation of x is given by standard deviation of a equal to I equal to 1 to 4 over m xi minus mu, where xi is the ith value of the variable, where m is the number of objects, and mu is the either the mean or median. So there are a lot of other approaches for computing the estimate of the location, like center, spread of the set of values in the presence of outliers are will be going to take it in the next session. So these measures can be all used to define the standardization and transformation. So this is about we had discussed about all the data pre-processing steps started from the aggregation to now the attribute transformation. Next slide, we are going to discuss the measures of similarity and dissimilarity between the data object. So now we should discuss about similarity and dissimilarity. So first, we should see about what is similarity and dissimilarity. The similarity and dissimilarity are important. Why? Because they are used by a number of data mining techniques such as clustering, nearest neighbor classification, and anomaly detection. In many cases, the initial data set is not needed once this similarity or dissimilarity have been computed. Such approaches can be viewed as transforming the data to a similarity or dissimilarity space and then performing the analysis. So we begin discuss with the high level definitions of similarity and dissimilarity. So before that, the similarity is a data, we say that numerical measures how alike two data objects are. Similarity is higher when objects are more alike. Similarity is often falls in the range between the range 0, 1. See, like that, the similarity is like this, and dissimilarity, numerical values, so measure of how different are two data objects. Dissimilar is lower when objects are more alike, and dissimilar, minimum dissimilarity is often to 0, and the upper limit is always varies. So together we can call for convenience the term proximity, which is used to refer either similarity or dissimilarity. So proximity between two data object. So we first describe how the proximity between the object having only one simple attribute, and then consider the proximity measures for the object with multiple attributes. So this is for the dense data such as time series or 2D point, as well as there are as we have a measures of Jaccard and cosine similarity measures. So which are useful for the sparse data like document. So now here, so there are the things. So we need to have similarity or a dissimilarity. So we have a simple attribute. Actually, we know that the proximity of object with a number of attribute is typically which is defined by combining the proximities of individual attributes, and thus we discuss like this: proximity between the object having a single attribute, consider the object which are described by one nominal attribute. So here the P and Q are attribute values of the two data object. So how that similar and dissimilar will be having the simple attribute. So the type attribute type here nominal. So here dissimilarity equal to D equal to 0 if P equal to P attribute value is equal to Q attribute in such cases, so that we can call it a nominal attribute is a dissimilar. Similarly, D equal to 1, the such cases simply P not equal to Q. So in the similar case like that, similar also, so if S equal to 1, if P and Q cases, and S equal to 0, P not equal to Q. So the reverse of these two values, similarity and dissimilarity, in case of this nominal attribute. So now come to the next one is ordinal. So here D equal to mod of P minus Q by N minus 1. So values are mapped to the integer 0 to N minus 1, where N is the number of values in case of dissimilarity in the ordinal attribute types. So okay, similar case 1 minus mod P minus Q divided by N minus 1. So this is the case of a similarity. So the next one will have that interval or ratio. So this is the such case. Dissimilarity will be calculated as modulus of P minus Q, and similarity is the minus D, that S equal to 1 upon 1 plus D, or S is equal to 1 minus D minus of 1 minus D or max D. We can call it a minimum or max D, minimum D minus max D. So this is the table will you tell you about similarity or dissimilarity of any kind of a simple object. So now let us discuss one of the we first project this in an example, more formal description. Distance in terms of properties to common all the distance. Here the first one Euclidean distance d. So between the 2 point x comma x and y in 1 or 2 or 3 or higher dimensional space is given by the following formula: d of x comma y square root of summation k equal to 1 to small n xk minus yk whole square, where n is the number of dimensions, that is the attribute. So here we have told between the 2 point x and y with one dimension, 2 or 3 or higher dimensions. So k start with 1 to n. So where n is the number of dimensions attribute, and sk and yk are respectively with the kth attribute, that we can call it as components or data object p and q. So this is the, we can call it as uh, standardization is necessary if scales are differ in case of this Euclidean distance. Now the same thing, the Euclidean distance measures is given in the previous equations. Okay, what is the equation? Distance of x comma y equal to square root of summation k equal to 1 to k equal to 1 to n xk minus yk whole square. This generalized or extended by the, that is called as Minkowski distance matrix, that we can call it as a matrix. So here actually there are two set of point here, x and y. This point and the distance matrix, so which containing the pairwise distance of this point. That's why distance matrix which is given by, or this is called as Minkowski distance matrix d of x comma y k is equal to 1 to n mod of xk absolute values of sk minus yk to the power r. So to the power 1 by whole to the power 1 by r, where r is the parameter. So where r is the parameter, should take, this is absolute value will be taken here. So where r is the parameter, why? Because we need to take, we need to define with the where r is the parameter, and our most common example of this Minkowski distance r will be having this. The following are the three most, we can take it as three most common example of Minkowski distance, where r equal to 1, that we can call it as city block distance. And other name also there for this r equal to 1 parameter. So Manhattan, taxi cab, or L1, capital L1 now. So this is the name, we can call it as the first r equal to 1 parameter. So a common example is the Hamming distance here, which is the number of bits that are different between two objects and that have only a binary attribute, that is between the two binary vectors. When r equal to 2, that is called as a Euclidean distance, or we can call it L2 norm. So when r equal to infinity supermove, so that is called as L max or L infinity norm. That the both name is the same. So this is the nothing, but this is the maximum difference between attribute of the object. So more formally, the L infinity is we can define by the distance of r extends r tends to limit infinity. So k is equal to 1 to n xk minus yk to the power r and whole to the power 1 by r. So but here if distance, this is the case. So if the distance x comma y is the distance between the 2 points, say x and y, then these three properties should always hold true. So first property is here positivity. So in the positivity, what we say that in the positivity is for A, distance of Ax comma x should be greater than equal to 0 for all x and y. And similarly, distance of x comma y equal to 0. So if and only if x and our x equal to y. This is the first properties. Then we'll go with the second one, symmetry. So symmetry, so distance of x comma y equal to first one, distance of y comma x for all x and y. Third one is the triangle inequality. So in the triangle inequality, distance of x comma z less than or equal to distance of x comma y plus distance of y comma z for all the points x comma y comma z. So which measures that satisfies all the three properties are known as the matrix. Now this is the one simple for two-dimensional point. This is an example of 2D point. We can say that proximity matrix of L1, L infinity, and the with respect to ith and jth element or component, we can take it as the rows and column. Okay, so that is called a distance. As the Euclidean distance have well-known properties also will be considered. So this is the thing. So the point here 1, P1, P2, P3, P4, we have taken four 2D point we have considered here, four two-dimensional point. So the point P1, make it small circle here. So these values P1, P2, P3, this is the original point of X and Y coordinate, two-dimensional point here. There are four 2D point x comma y. 4 point is here. So start with x equal to 0, y 2. Okay. Similarly, P2 here we start with y 0. So what is the y x y 0 y 0 and x is 2. So this is the x value. Similarly, P3 this values will come. So x is 3, x is here, 3 is there, somewhere here to here, y equal to 1. Next is the P4. So where it is the P4 here. So the P4 y need to take that values x is 5 comma here 1. So now we are going to apply the Euclidean distance. Then we need to find out this table. The one thing, diagonal element is the always diagonal element of the any Euclidean L1 and L infinity. So all the cases, so here where diagonal element is 0 and the lower triangular matrix is equal to upper triangular matrix. So whatever values we are getting here, P1 comma P2 or P2 comma P1, both values are same in the all the cases. Okay, so this is the just theoretical part, and we'll have the problems in separate. This is the point we have how we are going to calculate. So and how we have calculated for the distance of the between the 2 points by just applying the Euclidean distance. Here point P1, P2, P3, P4. So 0 to, so that is the formula. While solving the problem, we can redefine it. So x2 minus the square root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Then we will get that application of the while applying that formula, we will come to know that. So this formula, how we got 0 and how we got these two values. So this is the same point we'll be using. We need to calculate the by using Euclidean formula. So now another theory part will be continued. Similarity. So the proximity, we should take examples of proximity measures. Similarity measures between the object that contain only binary attribute. So we can call it as a similarity coefficient. This is the need. Typically, they have values between always 0 and 1. Values 1 indicate that two objects are completely similar. So while values of 0 indicates that the objects are not at all similar. So this is the thing we need to calculate. So next year, when continued that one, let us that x and y with the two objects consist of binary attribute comparison of the two objects. In this case, two binary vector will lead the following four quantities. We can say that these quantities will be called as frequencies. So this is called as first frequencies of the first values is the x coordinate and y coordinate. Always will be we have taken in the form of two dimensional. So this is the f00, which indicates number of attributes where x is 0 and y is 0. The frequency of occurrence is x and y. And f0, 1, the number of attributes where x is 0 and y is set to y is 1. Similarly, f1 of 0. So this is the case. The number of attribute where x is 1 and y is 0. So f11, the number of attribute where x is 1 and y is also 1. So this is the two object when we have taken consist of n binary attribute comparison of the two object binary vectors, which always leaves the following four quantities of frequencies: f of 0 0, f of 0 1, f of 1 0, f of 1 1. So when we consider that, now we are going to have another coefficient. So that is the one way, the one commonly used similarity, the coefficient is called as SMC. That is called as simple matching coefficient. So simple matching coefficient can be defined as simple the number of matching attribute values divided by the number of attributes. So what will be that? Very simple problem calculation here. The number of matching attribute always f of 1 1 means x should have a value, y should have a value, and x should have a 0 and y should have a 0. Both are matching because both of 0, and the rest total divided by this is called a total number of attributes. So this is the equations of simple matching coefficient. So that will be having the depending upon the four parameter of SMC, simple matching coefficient. So next is let us little bit advanced for that one. Jaccard J. So Jaccard coefficient. Jaccard coefficient is frequently used to handle object consisting of asymmetric binary attributes. When there is a data object should have a asymmetric binary data object. So in such cases, we are going to use this J. That is the another one also there after this extended Jaccard. But we are going to use this Jaccard coefficient, so the which represents the two rows. Suppose that x and y are the data object that represent two rows or two transactions of the matrix, each in a symmetric binary attribute which correspond to an item store. So then one indicate that item was purchased, while 0 indicate that that product was not purchased. So that is the thing. The Jaccard coefficient, often symbolized by capital J, with these following equations. Number of matching presences divided by the number of attributes not involved in 0-0 matches. This is going to look at the 0-0 matches. Why? Because which will reduce compared to the previous SMC. SMC is little bit comparison is there how we are going to reduce it. But here which will be taken into the only 0-0 matches in the dividing part. No number of not involved in 0-0. So that's why number of presences is always f of 1-1. So if any 0 comes, that divided by any number is always 0. No need to calculate. So this is the way we are using the Jaccard coefficient. So in addition to that, extended. Okay. So the extended Jaccard coefficient. So that is called a Jaccard similarity coefficient, extended Jaccard similarity coefficient. So that is Tanimoto. That another name is Tanimoto coefficient. Extended Jaccard coefficient can be used to document the data, and that reduces the Jaccard coefficient in the case of binary attribute. The extended Jaccard coefficient is also known as the Tanimoto coefficient. However, there is another coefficient that is also known as Tanimoto coefficient. This coefficient which will present Ej. Now we are like equations to represent Ej, capital Ej, extended Jaccard. So which is defined by the following equations is E of j x comma y equal to x into y. So then divided by we should have double, so the modulus as x square, similarly y square. So that x square and y square so will be taken. So that is the case dividing. So and that length of the x and y, x square plus y square minus x into y. So this is called as Jaccard coefficient. So next is correlation. The correlation between two data objects have the binary with or continuous measures in the linear sheet. So that is the Pearson correlation coefficient will be have covariance will be calculated and divided by standard deviation of x and y. So s of xy, xx and xy. So both will be calculated. So this is the covariance, standard deviation and formula we need to use. So x bar and y bar. So another thing, cosine similarity also the cos of x and y. So x into y divided by that is the dot product, vector dot product will be taken. Length of the normal of the vectors. So the length of the normal of the vector x and y. So that we have to take length of the vector of x is always square root of x into x. Similarly, y into y. This is about all cosine similarity and correlation of the this is the correlation of Pearson correlation having the or perfect correlation we can call it as. Similarly, so other than that, so in the measures and similarity or dissimilarity, there is a visualizing correlation. After that, one more it is there. There is a Bregman divergence. So Bregman divergence, this is the which provides the Bregman divergence. We have to calculate in the given strictly convex function with phi. This is called as a d of xy generated by the function given by the d of x phi of x minus phi of y, where delta and the phi of y comma x minus y. So this is called as the length of we can call it as a Bregman divergence. So actually which provides a brief description divergence, which is a family of proximity functions that share some common properties. In such cases, we are going to use Bregman divergence. So after that, the issues in the proximity calculation. So there are many issues will be considered how to handle the case with attribute have different scale or correlated cases, and how to calculate proximity between the objects that are composed in different types of attribute or quantitative or qualitative. Another thing, how to handle the proximity calculation. So when attribute have different weight or not all the attribute contribute to equal proximity of the object. So in such cases, standardization and correlation for the distance measure, Mahalanobis distance. So that is the one standard important issue with the distance measure is how to handle the situation when the attribute do not have the same range of values. There are certain case in applications that attributes do not have the same range values. In such cases, a generalized formula, generalization of Euclidean distance is the Mahalanobis distance, which is useful when attributes are correlated have different range of values. In such case, we are going to use that the Mahalanobis distance between the two objects are vectors x and y defined as Mahalanobis x comma y equal to by x minus y summation minus to the power minus 1 x and y to the power t. That is the inverse covariance matrix of the data. So inverse of the covariance matrix of the data will be calculated, and covariance matrix whose ith or j entry is the covariance of ith and jth attribute is defined by the particular Euclidean distance. So this is a very important case will be used. Next is the issue is combining similarity for heterogeneous attribute. There are some cases we are able to combine the heterogeneous attribute. Similarities of heterogeneous of object will be taken into the while combining similarity of all the similar object need to be combined using the certain weight should be added. So then is the last one, selecting the right proximity measure. So it is always left to the what type of input or values. There are many observations might be helpful how we are going to select the right proximity measures between the two data objects. So this is about similarity and dissimilarity, and the next video now our my colleague had prepared the one videos. There are certain problems it solved whatever I told about similarity and dissimilarity. So let us say that video also.